Hallelujah, 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 amen. Hine, hine, matzov u'manayim, שבר אחים גם יחד, הנה הנה מצוב ומנעים, שבר אחים גם יחד, הללו, 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 הללויה, הללו, hallelujah, amen. Shabbat shalom, join us. Hallelujah, 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 amen. Hine, 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 matzov u'manayim, shever achim gam yachad. Hine, hine, matzov u'manayim, shever achim gam yachad. Shever achim, shever achim gam yachad, shever achim gam yachad.
Welcome to everyone. Shabbat Shalom. It is so nice to be together. Tonight is Shabbat Biyachad, which means Shabbat together. Every week when we come for Shabbat services and come into this now virtual community, but no less real and powerful, it is really wonderful to be together. And there's a special kind of togetherness on our monthly Shabbat Biyachad because we have our kids play a central role in the service. And tonight that is the sixth graders. And they've worked really hard to prepare to lead us in some parts of the service. And it's really wonderful to see that. But one of the things I've always loved most about our temple community is how multi-generational we are. And that we don't have the kids over here doing one thing and the adults doing their own thing. We really are integrated, and the ways we see that the most when we're in person, but even on a night like tonight is on Shabbat Biyachad. And it's always really special to be reminded that to live a Jewish life and to really live a fulfilling Jewish life is to live in community that has all ages and stages as part of it. And so it's really special tonight to be together. And I want to just remind you to take some deep breaths as we enter into Shabbat time. It's its own special kind of island in time. And we get to enter into it. We get to visit it every week. And during this time of the pandemic, a lot of people have been saying that each day just seems exactly like every other day. But we actually get to have Shabbat. We get to have a special time when we can come together and just notice how we're feeling, connect with people we love, connect with a very ancient tradition of which we're a part. So I invite you to take a couple deep breaths just to open yourselves to be able to enter into that and to receive the gifts that Shabbat can give us. The Kabbalat Shabbat service is what we call this first part of our service tonight, and Kabbalat Shabbat means we're receiving Shabbat. So we need to make ourselves open enough to receive it. We need to make space in ourselves. So if we're sitting hunched over or we're breathing in a shallow way, we don't have much space. So I was telling the kids earlier who are maybe a little nervous about leading us, I was telling them to stand with their hands on their hips. We call it the Wonder Woman stance. There was a TED talk about it. If you stand that way, it opens your chest, your heart space, your lungs, and you can take in more breath. And hopefully you can take in the beauty and warmth and love and community of Shabbat. So like I said, we're really, really, really excited to have the sixth graders leading us. And tonight we get to have our candle blessing led by Mira Munzer and her wonderful family. And the candle lighting blessing is on page 2.
Oh, what a plan.
If you have candles at home, and this is true also for the folks watching the live stream, please light with us. And those of us on Zoom can then share the light in our screens together. I had had pre-gamed a little bit. I did this with the top Shabbaters earlier, so mine are already lit. So we can bring our light into our screens and join that light together. Go ahead, Mira.
Nu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And Yasher Koach, that was beautifully done. Thank you so much, Munzer family. And we are going to move now into our song of welcome for Shabbat. So with Hine Matov, with that beautiful version that Josh led us in earlier, we really say how good it is to be together in community. Now, I think when we sing Lecha Dodi, we're saying how good it is to be together with our tradition. These words were composed many generations ago in the Middle Ages, and Jews have been singing them with countless melodies in every place around the world for hundreds of years. So we're going to sing one particular melody. We're on page 20 and 21, and I'm really delighted to welcome my husband, Rabbi Jethro Berkman, here, who's been accompanying me a lot on Friday nights, and he's here tonight to help us with Lecha Dodi. And we'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we get to verse 9, it's a tradition to rise and face the door and bow a little bit as if we're welcoming in a regal guest, maybe a queen or a bride. שמור וזכור בדיבורך השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5 התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נדע לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 לשבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 לשבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצונה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללה 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 בני שבת שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, לשבת מקבלה. All right, do we think Shabbat feels welcome? I think so. All right, we are going to, so another real blessing of Shabbat is getting to just step back and recognize how much is a source of awe and wonder, that even the small things in our world can give us joy. And I think that during this strange time we've been living through for almost a year, we've been recognizing that that there are really simple things that can give us so much joy that maybe we've taken for granted before now. But I think of how much we appreciate just being able to take a walk with a friend outside or sit outside together, walk in nature. I've been hearing from a lot of people how much they've realized the blessings in simple things. So if you feel like putting in the chat something that has been for you a really simple blessing that has filled you with a sense of wonder and awe, that's what we're going to sing about now. We're going to sing our Magan Lu round, where we say, wow, this world is amazing. And this world is amazing, and we are going to take time to appreciate it and step back from the busyness of our lives of the week and have this time during Shabbat to really say wow and to say thank you. We're at the top of page 342, and some of us might just sing hallelujah, and some of us might sing these words that come from our Shabbat psalm. Hallelujah,
Hallelujah,
Magadlu, Masechaya,
Hallelujah,
Me'od amku machshavot Well, it was awesome to watch those beautiful examples that some of you have shared just come across my screen. So I like to call it a harvest of awe and wonder. We can harvest it all up. And now that we've welcomed Shabbat and we've reminded ourselves to step back and be in touch with awe and finding the miraculous and the awe-inspiring and the simplest blessings, we have in that way received Shabbat, and we move now from the Kabbalat Shabbat service into the Ma'ariv, the evening service, beginning as a transition with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach chilutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayecho וביום אחד ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח
ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
We think that the Baruch is the calling to prayer. All the prayers before the Baruch are like warm-ups. Now the communal prayer begins. The leader of the prayer asks the audience if they are ready to pray. Now we will start the Baruch. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayers? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch et Adonai Hamborah. Baruch Adonai Hamborah. Leolam va'ed. Leolam va'ed. Yadalai, 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 yadalai.
It's my pleasure to welcome Max, who's going to lead us in the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer and teach us a little bit about it.
One second.
In English, which is going to be great. You got it.
I don't have English.
How can I help
I
you?
didn't memorize it.
Do you need a minute, Max?
I didn't memorize.
Oh, you need us to share the screen so that you can see the prayer in front of you?
Yeah.
Josh, do you have that ready to go?
Get that for you in 2 seconds.
Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the times, and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly course according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai, Yitzvot, is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continuously over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Harav Arah. This prayer talks a lot in the second half about the relationship between night and day. And I think the words rolling darkness away from light are very interesting because it essentially is saying that that each one is equally important and equally in a struggle. And if you look at daylight savings and whatnot, it is. During some parts of the year, there's more sun than there is night. But during the opposite time of the year, it's the other way around. And it always comes back. But God is doing this. And given that God, obviously, and especially this prayer was written when our days were literally defined by when the sun went up and when it went down, the idea that this thing that was defining their schedules was always shifting and is always shifting was the intent of God, meaning that God was intending for us to constantly have to be on our toes and essentially not be complacent about our schedule. Because during some parts of the year, specifically the winter, also this is fascinating effects on, like, if farming is the main industry and there is more night than day in the farming and you're going to be sleeping during the night, given that there's not, like, the winter in the farming industry is basically, please don't let my crops get crushed. I think that's just, it's fascinating. And then in the summer, when you have to plant and you have to harvest as much as possible, the roles reverse. So I think God is intentionally making sure that we know when we're supposed to be active and we know when it's okay to rest.
Thank you, Max. It's my pleasure to welcome Layla as we transition into the Shema, which can be found on page 34. And Layla will help introduce for us the Shema and V'ahavta.
We've now reached the Shema and the V'ahavta, what we often think of as the most important part of our service. In the Shema, we are affirming that God is one. Aiden will lead us in the Shema, and Mir and Liam in the V'ahavta. As we chant the V'ahavta together, we not only think of our love for God, but also for our love for the ARS friends, for the greater TOS community, and for our families. Thinking of all of these different loves gives us a greater understanding of what strong love really is.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevo Malhuto Le'olam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווה היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושופך ובקומך ושרתם לאות על ידיך ולהיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם emet.
Thank you, Layla, Aiden, Mira, and Liam. That was excellent. I think about what our ancestors who left slavery in Egypt and crossed the Sea of Reeds would think if I could go back in time and tell them that thousands of years later, their descendants would be saying these prayers and celebrating in their community. I don't think that they could understand Zoom or the way that we're doing it right now, but I know that they would feel such pride, such nachas, knowing that thousands of years later, people are continuing this tradition and upholding their memory in such meaningful ways. So thank you all. We turn to page 40 from Micha Mocha and we sing the song of redemption that Miriam and Moses led our people in as they crossed into freedom.
Let's rock it, y'all. Mi kamocha teidar bakudesh Nora tehilo to seferle Nora tehilo to seferle Malechutecha rahuvanecha Okea yam livnei Moshe Miriam Zeli anu ve'amru Zeli anu ve'ameru Adonai nimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai nimloch le'olam va'ed Yain Levi, sing it out. Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Ya lai la lai la lai la lai la 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 lai Yai la lai lai yai la lai lai lai.
So I was thinking, just like our community is a nice, beautiful mix of generations, lullabies too are for all different generations. We think of lullabies as something for babies or really young children, but the truth is that, as Max so beautifully pointed out about the effect of light and darkness, and when our society was agricultural and how dependent on the sun and the cycles of light and dark, but also even though we now have the benefit of electric light and we can have light all through the night, darkness remains, night remains a time when if we're feeling afraid or sad or any feeling like that, sometimes it can feel more intense at night. And sometimes we can feel alone and feel not as safe. And I bet that everybody here, no matter how old you are, has had that experience. So we have a beautiful blessing, the Hashkivenu blessing, which I call our lullaby blessing. We're on page 42. And we pray that God let us lie down in peace, and so that we can have a restful sleep, and so that in the morning we can wake up and do the most important work that is ours to do in this world, to make our world better each and every day. So we lie down in peace and wake up to life. We're going to sing that, and then we're going to sing about a canopy of peace, and imagining that a beautiful blanket is embracing all of us and the whole world and making us feel warm and peaceful. So that's another part of this lullaby blessing. So please join with us. And if you're following along, we're on page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Neshalom Vehamidenu Shomrei Nu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Neshalom Vehamidenu Shomrei Nu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Neshalom Vehamidenu Shomrei Nu Lechaim. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Go to sleep tonight. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Go to sleep tonight. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Neshalom sing about that canopy of peace, oh God, spread over us. A canopy of peace. Remind us to make and to be a canopy of peace for one another in this world. Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shelomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shelomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
My pleasure to welcome Elio, who will help introduce the Amidah for us, as well as the two young women who are going to lead us in the Amidah, Alexa and Sydney.
Hello. The Amidah is our central prayer, and you can find it in all services. The first lesson that we will chant together is about how God is everybody's God, and not just one or a group of people's God. We will begin with Alexa and Sydney Dykman leading us through the first 3 brachot, or blessings of the Amidah, which will then be followed by some moments of silence. You are welcome to use the prayer book or close your eyes and pray whatever is on your mind or in your heart.
Adonai sefatartita ufia gita hilateha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu v'yotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'zoher Aseyavot V'imahot Umillah Livnev Lemon Shemo Ve'ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach Magim Baruch atah Adonai Megin Abraham Bezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Hakol Atah Rav Lushia Mashiv Haruach Umor Haishim Mechayel Hayim V'Chesed Mechayei Hakol V'Rachamim Rabim Somech Nofim V'Elohei Olim Umatir Asuri Umechayel Emunato Yishe Be'Ava Mihamocha B'Gevurot Umidalech Melech Mimi Tumahayeh Umatziach Yeshira Ve'eman Atah Lahayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Melech HaHaol. Atah Kadosh Kadosh Yosim Udkeshim b'chol yom yachalucha selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
והגיון ליבי לפניך, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך.
So we're going to have the opportunity to pray for those who are in need of healing of body or of spirit. So I'd invite you to type the names of those you want to remember tonight for healing into the chat. And those of you who are not able to use the chat because you're on the live stream for any reason, know that if you say the name aloud, even in your home, there's a way in which we'll hear it, and it will be present here in our virtual sanctuary. And tonight, we think of those connected to our community, Anita Kulik, John Symington, Lumiano, Judy Goldberg, Kate Bingham, Eileen Schwartz, Chava Esther Bat Chaya Rochel V'Chaim Yona, Sarah Robinson, Esther Neshama, Tammy Griffin, Richard and Margit Hershey, Karen Shea, Doug and Mila Krynick, and the many, many, many thousands of people who are suffering from the effects of COVID-19. And all those being named as their names come across the screen or coming from you as you say their names aloud. We hold them all. Know that those for whom you are praying are not alone, and you, in thinking of them for healing, are not alone. As we send out our healing energy by praying this Misha Berach, Debbie Friedman's version, on page 253. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah
Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We wish them all a refuah shlema. It's my privilege tonight to share some Torah surrounded by so many capable and amazing teachers and prayer leaders. In this week's Torah portion, Yitro, we, along with our ancestors and every Jew who has ever lived and will ever live, experience the direct revelation of Torah. Amidst thunder and lightning, fire and smoke, we receive the 10 commandments. I am the Lord thy God. You shall have no other gods before me. Do not make idols. Do not swear falsely. Remember Shabbat. Do not murder. Do not cheat. Do not steal. Do not lie. And don't lust after what someone else has and you don't. The revelation of Torah and these 10 commandments are so central to the narrative of the book of Exodus and the narrative of our people that one could argue that everything that has happened so far in Torah is just so we could get to this moment. For this honor, God has chosen a special leader, Moses, to help reveal his Torah, and God has chosen a special people, his Am Segula, to receive it. So the divine must have also chosen a special place, right? So why did God choose Mount Sinai? First off, why a mountain? Mountains can certainly be majestic and awe-inspiring, but so are rivers and oceans, canyons and deserts. Perhaps if we think of God as up in the heavens, way up there, then a mountain makes sense because it reaches higher than any other location. Personally, I'd be happy to believe that the taller you are, the more special you are, but I don't think that that is really true. In fact, the early rabbis saw things from a different perspective. It wasn't about being the tallest. In fact, all the other mountains were taller than Mount Sinai. Well, maybe not all of them, but some of them were taller than Mount Sinai. Specifically, Mount Carmel and Mount Tabor would have been preferable if it was all about height. In a midrash, a rabbinic legend about giving Torah at Mount Sinai, the rabbis imagined these two mountains bringing their grievance to God about being passed over in favor of a shorter mountain. The first said, I am called Mount Tabor, and it is fitting that the presence should rest upon me, for I am the highest of all the mountains, and not even the water of the flood overwhelmed me. And the other said, I am called Mount Carmel. It is fitting that the divine presence should rest upon me, for I put myself in the middle of the Red Sea, and it was by my help that the children of Israel got across. Despite these arguments, Mount Tabor and Mount Carmel are denied their request to be the place that God gives Torah to the Jewish people. The Midrash continues, the Holy One, blessed be He, replied, because of your arrogance, you have already made yourselves unworthy of my presence. God said, my wish is to dwell only on Sinai, because Sinai is the lowliest and most humble of all of you. For as scripture says, I dwell in the high and holy place, and also with them that is of a contrite and humble spirit. What is so special to God is not size or beauty, it is humility. The place where Torah is given is a humble place, and so for us to be able to receive Torah, we too must be humble. The Midrash actually reminds me a lot of Ohabei Shalom. When I'm asked what is so special and unique about our temple, most people assume that I will answer that is our big building and our majestic sanctuary, which gives us a glimpse of the heavens. But while the building, and especially the sanctuary, is quite special, they are not what is most important. For almost a year, we have gathered together to learn, to pray, to eat, and to schmooze without being together in the building. We might miss it and long for the day when we can return. but what makes our community so special is bigger than the building. It is the kindness and warmth and down-to-earth nature of our community, which creates space for new people and new ideas. And I am so grateful for each and every one of you who helps make this community so special. So while we can only gather online, let us take in and appreciate those special traits which make our community so wonderful. Shabbat Shalom. It's my pleasure to help us conclude the service as we turn to Aleinu, which can be found on page 282. I invite you to rise in body and spirit and join me. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotze bereshit, shehu notei shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yikaroho b'shamayim ima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'gofei meromim, hu Eloheinu einod, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We're welcome to be seated.
At this time, we call to mind and call to heart those we have loved who are no longer present with us on this earth as we recite Mourner's Kaddish. And I want to offer comfort and blessing to Maya Norton and her family on the recent passing of Maya's mom, Wendy Moscow Norton. And we continue to hold in our hearts Doris and Saul and Hetty and Valerie, the Feldman family, and the loss of their son and brother, Peter. If there are those for whom you are reciting Kaddish this evening and you'd like to mention them, please feel free to put them in the chat. I see that we are remembering tonight Nat Levine, Margot Simon Golden, Norma Weber, Glenda Lynn Anderson, Sydney Scholar, Josh Rosenzweig, Abraham Borenheim, Neil Spritz. I'll share this introduction to Mourner's Kaddish. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. I invite you to rise if it's your custom as we recite Mourner's Kaddish. Page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. Bialma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Before we move to the conclusion of our service, I'd like to share a few thank yous and announcements. Thank you all to our amazing sixth graders for leading us tonight, to Mira, Ike, and Louie, Max, and Layla, Aiden, Liam, Elio, Alexa, and Sydney. And a little pre-thank you to Henry and Zach, who are still to come. We're so grateful to have you tonight. And to your teachers, Mayan and Jen, who have done a wonderful job, and to Amy, our wonderful religious school director. Thank you for making the Shabbat B'Yachad so special. To Josh, who's doing double duty with music and tech, and to Rabbi Berkman and the other Rabbi Berkman. He probably doesn't get called that too often. Thank you for leading us so beautifully tonight. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, Rabbi Berkman is going to lead Torah study, as well as some parts of the morning liturgy, and give everybody the chance to say Kaddish if you're saying Kaddish. So we hope you can join us on Zoom tomorrow morning. Next Tuesday night, we have the second session of our LGBTQ and Judaism class, and this class is going to focus on the Boston community specifically, and I hope people can join us. That's at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. Rabbi Berkman is teaching her class Torah for the heart and mind, and you want to say a couple words about that?
Sure. So this is a new weekly offering. So anytime you happen to be free on a Thursday morning from 9 to 9:45, you are free to drop in and join us for really an opportunity to just connect with one another and with ourselves and how we're feeling, but also then go into some mindfulness practice, just a guided meditation, as well as looking at a poetic interpretation that are both related to the Torah portion of the week. So it's a little bit of poetry, it's a little bit of mindfulness and meditation. We also usually sing one thing to sing us out into our day. So it's a lovely way to connect. It's informal. Please join anytime you can, for all ages, all backgrounds. You don't need to have any background whatsoever in Jewish text study or in meditation. But we've had a nice group the last couple of weeks, and please feel free to join anytime. The Zoom link is in your newsletter. And of course, email me if you have any questions.
Thank you. I also want people to start getting excited about Purim, which is a month away, but is approaching very quickly. It's on Thursday night, February 25th. We're going to gather together to tell the Purim story through improv and trivia. I hope you guys get on your costumes and get dressed up, because I will have my costume on, and I don't want to be the only one who has their costume on. So make yourself a cocktail, a mocktail, prepare some food, and get ready to have some fun with us. And next Wednesday is our deadline to sign up for Mishloach Manot, which is a tradition of giving Purim gift baskets. And we're doing it differently this year. If you go online and you sign up, that means you will get a Purim gift basket and you will give a Purim gift basket. And you put in your name, your address, and there's some suggestions for how to make them. But over the next couple weeks, you'll put it together. It's supposed to include ready-made foods. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it, but it's just a chance to spread cheer and warmth and to help connect community. So we hope people will participate and sign up for that. And of course, join us in Shir Chadash on February 25th. And because tonight is Shabbat B'Yachad, we're going to have some special breakout rooms at the end of services. There will be a general schmooze, a special breakout room for sixth graders and their families. And in honor of the upcoming Super Bowl, there will be 3 breakout rooms: Go Tom Brady, No Tom Brady, and Who's Tom Brady. So if any of those appeal to you, you can join one of those, and we hope you'll stick around and say hello and schmooze with us tonight. It's my pleasure now to invite Henry and his family to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi.
Thank you. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Wine for the young? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'chatzav v'anu, v'shabbat kadsho, v'hava ufratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehila l'nikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta v'ocharnu, Kidashta Mikol Ha'amin, V'Shabbat Kadshah Ba'ahava Ufratzon Hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And then the hamotzi. Can you see? Can you see the bread? Here's the bread. There's a challah. Okay.
Yes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Henry. Thank you to you and your parents. It's my pleasure to welcome Zach, who is going to lead us into our closing song. And we hope you'll all stick around and schmooze with us tonight.
To close out tonight, we will do the prayer Oseh Shalom. It is a prayer for peace, and when we do it, it shows God that we need peace in this world. It is a beautiful prayer, and with the things that happened in the Capitol recently, we need to pray for peace.
Well said, Zach. Join me, Oseh. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Page 62 for the words. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu. Ve'apo Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu. Ve'apo Yisrael. Sing it out, y'all. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Yeah, 2 and 4. Shalom Aleinu, Ve'apo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu. Ve'apo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu. Ve'apo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kol ha'olam. Shabbat Shalom. Pass it off to the rabbis. Explain
Shabbat
this
Shalom,
awesome breakout
everyone.
rooms.